Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's viewer story is a wild one, and I think a lot of you will relate. So let's get into it. My name's Ray, I'm 57 years old, and for most of my life I worked as a mechanic in a small town in Arizona. Greasy hands and long hours, that was me for nearly 30 years. My kids are grown up now and living their own lives, and my marriage ended a while ago. There was no bad blood or drama, just two adults growing apart and drifting off like boats heading in opposite directions. It was bound to happen. I was putting in a lot of hours at work and became unavailable emotionally. For a long time after that, I didn't do much. Went to work, came home, made my dinner, watched TV until I fell asleep. Life wasn't terrible. It was steady but boring. I kept telling myself I'd retire early and go somewhere warm. Maybe Mexico, maybe Thailand, somewhere with beaches and cheap cold beers. One night I was scrolling through videos on YouTube and I saw this vlog by an older guy who moved to Thailand and started a new life. He was eating noodles by the ocean, surrounded by friendly people. I thought, man, I want that. Just a simple, peaceful life. So I booked myself a 2-week holiday to Thailand. It was my first time out of the US. I picked Pattaya because I heard it was cheap and close to the beach. The moment I stepped out of the airport, I came back to life. I was full of excitement and ready for my 2-week adventure. After 2.5 hours in the minibus, I finally arrived at my destination. The first night I was just wandering around, trying to get over the jet lag, when I stumbled into a little bar tucked between a massage shop and a restaurant. It seemed pretty chill. A few red stools, neon lights, girls sitting around looking bored. That's when I met Ploy. She wasn't like the other girls. She wasn't loud or looking to get my attention. She didn't come running up to me like they did. She just smiled, and somehow that smile made me feel something. I don't know how to explain it, but it felt like someone had just turned the volume down on the world. She came over, asked me my name, where I was from. She laughed at my jokes, even the bad ones. I bought her a drink, and we sat there talking for hours. I told her I was just visiting. She said she worked at the bar because her family in the village needed money. Said she hated it, but had no choice. The way she looked at me when she said that, I believed her. And that night, walking back to my hotel, I started visualizing a life together with Ploy. That was a huge mistake. The next day, I went back to the same bar. I told myself I just wanted a drink, maybe a little company, but I knew I was hoping to see her again. And there she was. Same soft smile, same gentle eyes. She looked genuinely happy to see me. I liked that feeling. At home, I felt invisible most of the time. But here, with Ploy, I felt like someone special. We started spending every evening together. I'd show up, and she'd be waiting with a cold drink and a big smile. We'd eat street food, walk along the beach, and sometimes she'd rest her head on my shoulder, like we'd known each other forever. She told me stories about her life. Her family lived in Itsan, way up in the northeast. Her dad was sick. Her mum sold vegetables at the market. She said she worked at the bar to help them survive. She called me her hero the first time I gave her money for rent. I didn't think twice about it. I wanted to help her. I thought, if I had someone like her back home, I would have done the same. She started telling me she wanted to quit working at the bar, that she was tired of the late nights and strange men. She said I made her feel safe, like she could be herself. I soaked it all in. It felt so real. I even extended my trip by 2 more weeks. I wasn't ready to leave. Every day with her felt like I was waking up from a bad dream and finally breathing fresh air. One night she invited me to meet her cousin. He was another older foreign guy, sitting quietly in a corner of the same bar. She waved at him but didn't introduce us, just said he was a friend of the family. I didn't think much of it then. Looking back now, I feel stupid. He looked at me a little too long, like he recognized something I didn't. I should have asked questions, but I didn't want to ruin what I had. At the end of my trip, we sat on the beach, watching the waves crash against the shore, and she held my hand. She told me she would wait for me, said she'd quit the bar soon. I believed her. When I got on the plane back to Arizona, I was sad but hopeful at the same time. I had something to look forward to for the first time in years. I thought I had found love. But little did I know, I was in for a wild ride. Back home, everything felt grey. The food tasted bland, the house felt too quiet, and the work just didn't make sense anymore. I kept checking my phone, waiting for her messages. Ploy would video call me every night, always with a big smile, always saying she missed me. Sometimes she'd cry, say the bar life was too hard, that men wouldn't leave her alone. She said she just wanted to be with me and have a peaceful life. She kept calling me her soulmate, said she never felt like this with anyone else. I was hooked. Every word she said pulled me in deeper. I felt needed, wanted, loved. And when she said she wished I could be there to take her away from all that, I started thinking, why not? I had some savings. My truck was paid off. I was already burned out from the job. My boss kept asking when I'd retire anyway. It just felt like everything was pointing in one direction. So I did it. I sold my truck, filed for early retirement, and packed up my life into 2 suitcases. Some of my friends thought I was crazy, but I didn't care. I thought I had found another shot at love, and I wasn't about to let it slip away. When I told Ploy I was coming back for good, she cried on the video call, said she couldn't believe I would do that for her. That's when she said, "I'll take care of you like you take care of me." I believed her. Landing in Thailand that second time felt different. This wasn't a vacation anymore. This was home now. She met me at the airport with flowers and a big hug. We went straight to the small house I'd rented outside the city. Nothing fancy, just clean and quiet. Perfect for the 2 of us. She unpacked my bags, cooked me dinner, even folded my clothes while humming to herself. I sat on the porch with a beer, watching the sunset, thinking, I did it. I really did it. I kept wondering if this was what love looked like in Thailand, just 2 people who wanted to be together in paradise. But now I realize I was playing a game. I just didn't know the rules. The first few months were everything I dreamed of. We had a little routine. Mornings started with Ploy making me coffee while I watered the plants. We'd ride the scooter down to the beach, eat grilled chicken and sticky rice, then head back and nap during the hottest part of the day. At night, we'd go to a market, walk along the beach, or just watch Netflix. Sometimes she'd talk about having a baby, said it was her dream to have a small family in the village one day. It scared me a little. I mean, I was 57, but I couldn't bring myself to say no. Not to her. I kept thinking, if she gave up the bar life for me, I could give her this. It felt like she deserved it after being with me. But deep down, I think I already knew something was off. One evening, she seemed quiet, distracted. I asked her what was wrong, and she said her mother was sick. She said the hospital bills were piling up. I told her not to worry. I transferred the money the next morning. It wasn't a small amount, but I didn't even hesitate. She cried and hugged me, told me I was the only man who ever truly cared about her. But a few months later, I was having beers with a local guy I met through my visa agent. He mentioned in passing that a lot of the girls in Pattaya say their parents are sick, even the ones whose families passed away years ago. I didn't want to believe it, but the thought kept gnawing at me. That night, when I gently asked Ploy how her mum was doing, she got quiet, said she didn't want to talk about it, that it was too painful. I dropped it, but it stuck with me. I started asking myself questions I didn't like the answers to. Why did I never talk to her family? Why had I never been invited to visit them? Why did everything always sound just a little too perfect? Still, I told myself, she had her reasons. Maybe it was shame. Maybe she was protecting me. I convinced myself it didn't matter. I loved her. That's what mattered. Looking back now, it wasn't love. It was denial wrapped in a bow. But at the time, I would have done anything for her, and I did. After everything we'd been through, I thought getting married would be the next step. I brought it up one night over dinner, just testing the waters, and before I could even finish the sentence, she jumped up and hugged me, said yes over and over, like she'd been waiting her whole life to hear it. She kept saying she just wanted to feel secure, that in Thailand, marriage meant safety for women, that it showed real commitment. I was flattered, honestly. I felt like I was finally giving her the life she deserved. I wanted to ask her officially, but she said there was no need. We had a small ceremony, a monk blessing, a few friends from her side, and a meal afterward. I didn't know anyone there. I figured her family couldn't travel. She said it was too expensive for them to come down from the village. I offered to pay, but she said she wanted to keep it small. After we got married, I used a chunk of my retirement savings to open a small coffee stand for her. She always said she loved making drinks, wanted to have something of her own. I figured it would keep her busy and give her some pride. For a little while, things felt stable again. I'd go with her in the mornings, sit nearby with a book while she worked. The way she smiled at customers, how she joked with them in Thai, made me proud. I thought maybe this was our fresh start, but not long after that, the cracks started to show. She'd come home later and later, said she was out with friends or shopping. Sometimes she'd get messages on her phone and hide the screen when I walked by. When I asked about it, she'd snap, tell me I was being paranoid, that Thai people were more private than Americans, that I didn't understand her culture. She'd guilt-trip me, say I didn't trust her, that I made her feel small, like she couldn't breathe. And every time I tried to explain how I felt, she'd twist my words until I was the one apologizing. One night, I saw her getting on the back of a motorbike with some guy outside a bar. I was riding by on my way back from the store. She didn't see me. When she got home, I asked where she'd been. She said she was at the market with a friend. No mention of the guy or the bike. I just nodded and said, okay. I didn't want to fight. I didn't want to lose her. I told myself she loved me, that maybe I was just overthinking things. I kept choosing peace over truth and comfort over confrontation. Looking back now, I know exactly what she was doing. But at the time, I didn't want to believe it. I just wanted to hold on, even if it meant lying to myself. The nights started to get longer. I couldn't sleep like I used to. I'd hear her phone buzzing at 2 or 3 in the morning. Sometimes she'd get up and go outside to take a call. Said it was her cousin or her aunt or someone from the village. I wanted to believe her. I really did. One afternoon while she was in the shower, her phone lit up on the bed. I shouldn't have looked. I know that. But my gut had been screaming for weeks. I picked it up. There were messages in English. From someone named Mark. He was saying things like, I miss your lips and when can I come back to Thailand? There were heart emojis, pictures of them at a hotel I'd never seen before. My hands went cold. When she came out, I sat there quiet. I didn't know what to say. I felt sick. I asked her, who's Mark? She froze for half a second, then laughed. Said he was just a friend. Said the messages were old, from before we got married. Then she turned it around, asked why I was snooping, told me I was acting like a jealous teenager, said I didn't respect her, and just like that, I was the bad guy. She didn't get mad like people do when they're caught. She got calm, cold, like she'd been through this 100 times and knew exactly what buttons to press. I apologized. I told her I shouldn't have looked at her phone. She cried, told me she felt ashamed that I didn't trust her, that she gave up her whole life for me, that I didn't understand how hard things were for her as a Thai woman. She said I was supposed to protect her, not accuse her. I didn't say another word about it, because deep down, I wanted it to be a lie. I wanted to believe that it was all just old messages and misunderstandings, that we could fix things, that love could make it better. But something in me shifted after that. I stopped sleeping next to her some nights. I'd lay on the couch with the fan humming, staring at the ceiling, wondering what else I didn't know. Still, I stayed. Because I didn't know how to leave, and because I was afraid the truth would hurt more than the lie. About a month later, I was at the local market picking up some fruit and instant coffee when I struck up a conversation with another expat. He was older, maybe mid-60s, with sunburned skin and a Hawaiian shirt 2 sizes too big. His name was Dave, originally from Manchester. We got to talking, and I told him I'd moved here for love. He laughed and said, "Ah, yeah, me too. Thai women, eh? Beautiful and mysterious." He asked me where I was living and who I was with. I told him about Ploy. When I said her name, he said he was in a relationship with a Ploy too. I proudly showed him a picture of me and Ploy at a restaurant. He grabbed his phone and showed a picture. "Is this your Ploy?" There she was, in a selfie with him, kissing his cheek, wearing the same necklace I bought her. I stared at the photo, not believing what I was seeing. "She's my wife," I said, barely able to get the words out. Dave went pale. We stood there in silence for a good 10 seconds, both of us just processing it. Turned out he had met her 2 years ago. She told him the same story. Sick family, bar life, wanted to quit, needed security. He had a house in a nearby neighborhood. She stayed with him a few nights a week. Said she was helping her cousin the other nights. She had a husband and a boyfriend. We stood there, two old fools, completely gutted. I just went numb. Dave bought us both a beer, and we sat on a bench, swapping stories. Every detail matched. The same lies, the same lines, even the same promises. After exchanging numbers, I walked home that night like a ghost. When I walked through the door, she was cooking noodles like nothing was wrong. She smiled at me and asked how the market was. And I just said, fine. I couldn't even bring it up. I stared at her, thinking, how many other men are out there like me and Dave? How many times has she pulled this off? I wanted to scream, to shake her, to demand answers, but I didn't. Because even then, even after seeing that photo, part of me still hoped she'd choose me, that she'd say I was the one she really loved. I was still waiting for a lie I could live with. The next morning, I couldn't take it anymore. I sat her down at the table and told her everything, that I met Dave, that I saw the photo, that I knew she'd been living a double life. At first, she stayed quiet, just stared at the floor like a kid caught stealing candy. Then the tears came. She didn't deny it, didn't even try. She just said, I was scared. I didn't know what else to do. She told me she never meant to hurt anyone, that she started seeing Dave before she met me, and when I came into her life, she felt something different but didn't know how to let go of the past. Said she thought she could balance both and make it work until she figured things out. It was such a strange thing to hear, like love was just a schedule she had to juggle. She said she was raised in a poor village, that no one ever looked out for her, and she did what she had to do to survive. Said the bar life messed her up, made her think every man was temporary. She started crying harder, said I made her feel safe for the first time, said she wanted to change. And somehow, that made me even more furious than if she had screamed or blamed me, because I wanted to believe her. I really did. I told her if she cut ties with Dave, we could try again, that I'd stay, that we could start fresh. She nodded, said she would do anything for me. For a few days after that, she was gentle again, cooked for me, held my hand, stayed home. She deleted a bunch of contacts on her phone right in front of me, said she wanted to show me she was serious, and for a moment, I let myself breathe. I started to think maybe we could fix it, that love, real love, was messy and painful, but worth fighting for. But in the back of my mind, I kept wondering, was I fixing something real or just taping together pieces of a lie? For a few weeks, everything seemed calm, too calm. She smiled more, stayed in, even talked about taking a trip to the village together. Said she wanted me to meet her real family this time. I clung to every word, desperate to believe we'd turned a corner. But deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. She was too sweet, too careful with her words, like someone putting on a show they'd practiced 100 times. Then one morning, I woke up and the house was quiet. Too quiet. Her clothes were gone, her shoes, her little trinkets, the gold necklace I bought her, all gone. I checked the bathroom. Empty. I called her phone. I was blocked. I stood there frozen, heart racing, when it hit me. I rushed to my computer and opened my bank account. 0. Every last dollar from our joint account, gone. There was a note on the table, one line written in her small, neat handwriting. I'm sorry, I had to take care of my real family. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just sat there, staring at the paper like it was written in a language I'd never seen before. The woman I thought I was building a life with betrayed me, and I walked right into it like all the other simps in Pattaya. It's been over a year since that morning. I still live in Thailand, just not in the same house. I moved to a part near the coast named Bang Saray. It's perfect, and I'm enjoying my routine. Every morning, I walk barefoot down to the shore, watch the fishermen head out, listen to the waves. It's peaceful, and it's simple. I think about Ploy sometimes. It fills me with rage whenever I do. I'm angry at her, but mostly angry at myself for being so naive. I've met other foreigners since then, some with stories like mine. Some still deep in it and don't even know. And when they talk about their sweetheart, who works at the bar but is different from the rest, I try to warn them one time, and then I'll let them drown in their own misery. It's very recognizable. Love can indeed blind you. Hope can make a fool out of anyone, especially when you're older and all you want is someone to look at you like you matter. And if you're thinking about moving to Thailand for love, here's my advice. If you're a 57-year-old Farang who meets a 28-year-old Thai woman in a bar and she calls you her soulmate after one drink, brother, you better drink some water and sober up.